we've got, between 8 and 10 guys. We do roughly 5 million a year in revenue. What's up, man?
Nothing, dude. Chilling. Chilling in the
Chilling
basement.
like a villain
Yeah,
in your basement.
It's starting to get warm up here in the AK.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like 15, 16.
It's starting to get warm down here in the Florida.
Is it really? Like, what are you getting to?
It's like getting in the 80s.
Nice, dude.
Up
That's
here,
awesome.
up here in the Panhandle. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's getting to that point where it's like almost too hot for me. Like you go outside, it's nice, and then the sun. Like if you're in the sun is intense, and so we're getting there. But we'll see if I live.
Yeah, you'll go through this season, like the real summer of Florida, and you'll be like, wait a second.
Yeah, because I've been through like a portion of it last year, right? But in reality, probably only about half of it. So
yeah, you haven't done the whole run, and you'll get to see the other side of it.
No, yeah,
that's exciting.
Hopefully, I still like it.
Hopefully, yeah, because I'm about to be there. It'd be lame if you're like, yeah, I'm going somewhere else now. It sucks. It's too hot.
It's too hot here. I'm moving.
Me and Mark are all upset, and
yeah.
I'd laugh. It'd be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Yeah. What would Brooklyn do? Would Brooklyn be excited? What would she think?
Oh no, she'd be mad.
She'd be like, Dad.
She would not be happy. She likes it here.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. You don't have to worry because my wife likes it here.
Yeah, I'm not really worried. I'm not very worried at all.
We're not gonna leave. It's a good place to live.
Yeah,
I think.
Excited.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm stoked. It's got everything you need. It's got a grocery store.
Heck yeah.
It's got warm weather.
Humidity.
It's got houses. It's got stores. It's got a beach.
Yeah. What more could you need?
It's not bad. Yeah.
Okay, so plumbing related question for you. This comes from a couple calls that I've had. I think you'd be able to answer this well. So I'll give you my perspective, and then you can respond with sort of your perspective.
Okay.
I was talking to this guy on a sales call, and we were just talking about his business, right? His plumbing business, and he was stressing because he was just like, oh, I can just tell this guy had a lot going on. Like he was just doing all the things, just one truck chucking it. And
what were you trying to sell this guy?
Plum Social. So I was trying to get in.
What is Plum Social?
Oh, well, it's a social media marketing strategy for your plumbing company.
Okay. Yeah. How do people sign up for that?
Oh man, they can just go to our website, plumsocial.media, and then
nice.
Book a call, probably with me. A lot of people think I'm Jared at first. And then I'm like, no, I don't know. No, I'm not Jared. I just know Jared.
You're just my brother.
Yeah, exactly. Are you Jared's brother? Like, will it help the sale? No, I say no, I'm not Jared's brother. My name is Tyler. Is that what you mean?
That's funny.
Yeah, so we were just having a conversation about his plumbing business, so we could talk about Plum Social. And he was talking about like, I'm going to hire a technician and everything. And I was like, oh, do you have a CSR? And he was like, well, no. And I was like, dude, if you had a CSR, like you wouldn't have to like have a notepad in your truck. And then I brought up you, and I was like, Jared hired a CSR. He hired my wife, and it like allowed him to actually think about his business because he wasn't thinking about every little, like this guy had to answer a phone call during our thing. Booking a call. And like, it's like, dude, you need a CSR. And he's like, really? And so the question is that the right advice is to hire a CSR first and then a technician?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of guys jump to the technician because they're like, oh, I got tons of work. I need to hire a technician. And it kind of makes sense. Like then you can get this other guy out billing, but you're still not optimizing your time. So then you're trying to like, I mean, imagine that scenario right there. You're busy. You've got too much work than you can handle. So you hire a technician, but now all of a sudden you have to take all the phone calls like you were doing. You have to schedule yourself. Now you have to schedule another guy and make sure another guy's got jobs to do and getting the work done and make sure he's got a van to get in and tools to do the job.
You have more stuff to think about.
A way to invoice and all this stuff, right? So now you just made your workload worse. Right. And if you're already busy, what you should be doing is trying to make your workload easier. So if you hire a CSR first, like you're busy, if you hire a CSR, you'll find you can do more work.
Yeah.
Because you're going to not be stressing about what's on the schedule 2 weeks from now or 2 days from now. Or You're not gonna be at somebody's house taking a phone call, right?
Mhm.
Go, "Yeah, I can help you out, blah, blah, blah." You can just focus on the one thing at hand, right? The
Mhm.
one job you're on.
Mhm.
And then so not only that'll make you more effective, more efficient, you'll then be able to do more jobs,
Mhm.
and that'll help you to stack cash flow away, like stack cash away, right? Because you
Mhm.
need this, like, kind of my idea is you start your business, you do the minimum amount of marketing,
Mhm.
and that marketing starts to pick up and it starts keeping you busy because it doesn't take much to keep one guy busy.
Mhm.
And as long as you're priced properly, you can go stack away a lot of cash really
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
So you stack away some cash and you go, okay, now I'm going to spend this cash on more marketing to get more work.
Right.
And once I'm too busy, then I hire another guy, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, all day long I would hire another CSR. Like for me, that was like game changer.
Yep.
Total game changer when I hired your wife.
Mhm.
Because I had a notebook, like just a regular old spiral wound
Mhm.
notebook
Mhm. So did this guy.
that I would yeah, and I would put like each page had a date.
Mm.
So every day was a page,
Mhm.
and I would only book 2 jobs a day because something always came up where I had to go to like a 3rd job, right?
Right.
Or a 4th job. And
Right.
sometimes I didn't even make it to those. And I would get booked out like 3 months.
That's a
And it was
that's a thick notebook.
dude, yeah. So I had like all those jobs in my head, and like every day I would look, be like, "Oh, I got this job coming up, and I got that
Oh, of
job coming
course, and
up.
yeah, you
Oh
get
yeah,
the
I finished
logistics
this
lined
job,
out.
but I need to bill this guy and all that
I gotta make
stuff."
sure the parts are good for this job and this and the other
Yeah,
thing, and
yeah, yeah. So
mhm.
when I hired your wife, we downloaded a program called Trello,
Mhm.
and then we just had like Monday. You create cards in Trello. It's just an app on your phone. So we created cards for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Mhm.
and then she would just book jobs she would book jobs in 2-hour time slots. So from 8 to 10, 10 to noon, noon to 2, and 2 to 4.
Mhm.
And that's it. And once the
Mhm.
slots were full, she'd start booking it the next day.
Yeah.
And then so on and so on.
Mhm.
And so I would force myself to not even look at the next day's cards
Mhm.
until I woke up that day. Because then I would make sure and get everything done. Like if it was Monday, I'd pull up my card, look at Monday card. I'd be like, okay, there's my first job. I'd call the customer or text them, hey, I'm on my way. Um, and then do my thing, take care of that customer, and then move on to the next customer. Like one
Right.
customer
Yep.
at a time, and then one day at a time.
Mhm.
Right. That's how you're going to have the most like brain space. And it's
Yeah.
actually going to make you the most efficient with the customer.
Mhm.
So 100% hire a CSR. When you do, come up with some system like Trello to just organize, her scheduling jobs and you being able to see them on your phone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We actually use that. We used Trello up until I had like 3 or 4 guys,
oh,
and
wow.
then we got Service Titan.
Oh, interesting. Huh. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you just went from Trello, which isn't even like a plumbing-based app. It's just like a
No.
communication task app,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
kind
you
of a
jumped into Service
whatever you
Titan.
want app. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool actually. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you didn't go through, like, sort of almost the normal pipeline where you used Jobber or you used, what's the other one?
Right. I don't know. There's House Call Pro.
Yeah,
There's
House
a
Call
couple of them.
Pro. That's
Yeah.
a very common one I hear, and then
Yeah.
moving finally into the big leagues with Service Titan.
Yeah,
Um,
all those other ones like Java or House Call Pro, those kinds of things, they take a time to set up.
yeah.
And if you know you're going to want to get on Service Titan, which you are at some point in time, like if you want to grow and scale, you got to get on Service Titan. Like
Mhm.
Java and House Call Pro, they just don't have the options that Service Titan have.
Mhm.
So why waste your time setting all that up?
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
set up something simple. It does what you need it to do, and you're good to go. And then use like QuickBooks Online, and QuickBooks Online can grab your customer data, right? So anytime you want to bill a customer, you just bill them through QuickBooks Online, and then you've got all the customer data in there.
Gotcha. Um,
Yeah.
so there was one other thing. So like so I was talking to this other client, right? Again about Plum Social, and like this guy, his he took the call in his truck like a lot of guys do, just like eating lunch or something. And he was constantly like interacting with his technicians because he was still like bidding the jobs at that point. Like he was still like, "Oh, this is
Uh-huh.
how much it's going to be." Um
Mhm.
And he just like his problem, like his pain point, I could tell was he didn't have any systems. And
Yeah.
he had technicians in the field, and which just meant that all his job was talking on the phone all day, whether it was to
Right.
mostly just to technicians. And so like, how do you begin to build, like, what's the way and when, first off, when do you want to start building your systems? And two, how do you do that in such a way so that you don't have that problem? So where your technicians are like, they're coming into your business and they have like, okay, this is what you're expected to do, and this is how we
Mhm.
serve the customer, so that they're not like, hey boss, I have another question about the exact same thing. This is the job, how
Mhm.
much is this going to cost? Okay, she said this, what do I say? Like, how do you like avoid that whole thing? Because it looked like a nightmare just watching this guy.
Oh, yeah, heck yeah. So, I mean, in, like, long term, you're gonna have SOPs and you're gonna have software, right, that
Right.
helps you out with all that stuff. So, you're gonna have a written procedure for them to follow, like, "This is how we do it,
Mm-hmm.
step by step." And then the software is gonna make it so that you have to move through the software in a certain fashion,
Right.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
your price book is gonna be in there, so
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna know what everything costs. They should have very minimal questions at that point in
Right.
time. On the front end, like, when you're growing, like I said, we got, 3 or 4 technicians, and we were still using Trello and
Mm-hmm.
QuickBooks.
Mm-hmm.
My guys knew not to call me for everything. But
Well, what
on
did
the
they
but
do? How did
on
they
the
how
flip
did they
side,
make
like,
it?
they just stumbled through it just like I did. It
Mm.
was like, I just told them, "Hey, guys,
Yeah.
you guys are professionals. You know how long this is gonna take you. This is
Mm-hmm.
what we charge per hour.
Mm-hmm.
We double our materials.
Mm-hmm.
So just let's figure out how long it's gonna take you or how long you
Mm.
think it's gonna take you, and then double the materials and add those 2 numbers together and give the customer a price." And so they would do that. They would write it on a notebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
whatever they did, I always told them, I'll back you up 100%, right? I know you're
Interesting.
gonna make mistakes, and
Yeah.
that's okay, but I need you to be able to, like, think for yourselves and do your own thing and not bother me, and I trust you to do that."
Okay, let's pause on this little point, because this, I think, is a really good point, because I think
Mhm.
it's really hard for plumbing business owners to let loose on the reins and let their
Yeah,
technicians go out there and fail, because the other conversations I have, they'll be around like, I'll be like, so like, what's hard for you right now? Like, what's your biggest pain? Like, man, it's just like trusting my guys, like
yeah,
not micromanaging, not being there every time. And the problem is if you start to micromanage, then that's the expected service that you provide, and
right.
nobody's out there just doing it. So yeah,
Nobody's thinking for themselves,
nobody's
yeah,
thinking for themselves. So like, if you could speak to that, but even just like, because your whole thing that you just told me is nothing I've heard, where you said, hey, I
right,
trust, like essentially the back you up part, like, I trust you. Like, whatever you do,
mhm,
I'm going to back you up. And then when it's wrong, we'll just have a conversation on the back end, and you'll do a little bit better next time.
yeah.
Because that seems to be like a missing part, where guys don't go that direction, or they go that direction a lot later.
Yeah, you have to be okay letting your employees make mistakes, because if you try to just micromanage them to death, then you're just gonna spend all your time micromanaging, right?
Yeah.
And your employees are never gonna learn. So
Yeah.
they're gonna come to expect you to micromanage them, and they're never gonna be able to think for themselves.
Hmm.
Whereas you can give them total freedom to take care of the customer and say, "Look, I'm gonna back you up regardless. If you make a mistake, we'll just deal with it and we'll learn from it." Number 1, most guys love that.
Yeah.
Number 2, you're gonna find they're actually pretty dang capable. Like, they might be
Hmm.
more capable in some things than you are.
Hmm.
Like, you might be able to learn a lot of sales techniques or a good way to do something from your guys,
Hmm.
just going out there and doing a good job and doing their best, right?
Hmm.
And I think as long as you communicate that to them up front, then they're gonna be cool with it. Um, and then, like, when they do fail or do something that you don't like or do something that didn't get the result you wanted,
Hmm.
that's when you need to pull them aside separately and go, "Hey, man, um, on this job, you did this thing. What happened there? How do we stop that? Right?
Hmm. Hmm.
What should we do in the future to stop this from happening?"
Hmm.
And just have that conversation with them.
Yeah. Cool.
That's
That
it.
doesn't, yeah, it doesn't sound like this groundbreaking thing, right? That sounds pretty
That
simple.
that will save your butt from picking up your
Hmm.
phone every 10 seconds,
Yeah, because that
right?
sounds like a nightmare scenario. Like,
Yeah.
you can't get anything
As
done
a
if you're constantly talking through. Like, I was talking to this guy and I said, it sounds like you would just make more money if you were out there doing the work yourself. And he's like, I actually did the numbers
uh-huh.
and I would make $100,000 more. Like, if I
Yeah.
cut all these guys and I did it myself. He said, but that's not the point of this. Like, that's not the point of what I'm doing. And I
Right.
said, yeah, huh. So he was
Right.
living that, like, that nightmare.
Yeah, and so I would tell that guy, have that conversation with his guys and then don't answer his phone next time they call.
Yeah, just let him, like, figure it out.
Like, let them fret, let them sit there, give them 20, 30 minutes, call them back. You'll find they probably solved their own problem.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like 9 times out of 10, they figured it out.
Yeah.
Like half the time, they're just calling you because they just want to talk to you or they just,
Yeah.
want
Yep.
confirmation or something.
Yep.
But if you let them know, like, I'm working on something, I'm not available, you got to figure this out on your own. You got the freedom to do that. I'll back you on it. Here's how I would do it if I was you.
Mhm.
Like, here's how I want you to walk through these situations.
Mhm.
Then you'll be good.
So this is still in the broader context of developing systems, and we're talking about developing the systems on the front end before you get to the big software elements that really help you. So
Yeah.
so where are we in that progress on the front side of it?
So, when you've got 2, 3, 4 guys, you don't really need a ton of systems, right?
Mhm.
You're still there at the company. You're still talking to
Right.
these
Yep.
guys. You're still dealing with these guys. You know, you're still talking to them every day, having interactions with them. You don't really need, like, literally all you need is Trello and QuickBooks,
Mhm.
and then to tell them to bid their own work.
Yeah.
And then when they screw it up, tell them what they did wrong, right? Hey, you need to add more hours on these.
Mhm.
Like, you guys are underbidding.
Mhm.
Quit doing that, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then when you start getting, past that 4 guy mark, that's when you start needing systems and
Mhm.
processes for people to follow. Because then, eventually you're going to want to bring in a general manager and
Mhm.
he's going to need systems and processes to follow. He's going to need the guys that are under him
Mhm.
to have systems and processes to follow. When you get to a certain amount of guys, it just becomes unmanageable in a smaller manner, right?
Mhm.
When you're
Yeah.
small, you can do those things. Once you grow to a certain point, it's like, okay, we actually got to get some, like, this is how we do it. Here it
Mhm.
is in writing. If you have any questions, go to your SOPs.
Right.
Then if you don't find it in your SOPs, go to your manager, right?
Mhm.
And that solves a ton of the, phone calls and all that stuff. But to try to set that up from the beginning, that'd be really, really tough because you don't know.
Sure. Mhm.
Like, you don't really know what kind of systems you need to put in place for a 7 to 10 man plumbing shop until
Sure.
you're there.
Right.
And then you're like, "Oh, this is how we do
Yeah,
this,"
makes
right?
sense. Mhm.
Or you're like, this is how I want it to be done. Maybe we can do it this way."
Mhm.
And then you try it out and you're like, "Oh, this doesn't work. We got to change up this system or we got
Yeah.
to change up this process," right?
Mhm.
And then you're like, "Okay, this one works. That's the one we're sticking with," right?
Mhm.
Okay, now it's in our SOPs for good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you need that trial and error portion. It's a useful time. Like, trial and error is a useful time, and that's what we're gonna be doing. Like, I mean, like, I do
Yeah.
that in Plum Social with developing systems where I'm like, "Huh, this seems like a really great idea." Like, whether it's spreadsheeting and all this stuff, and I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, "I don't know if that was a really good idea. That didn't seem like it made a lot of sense at this moment.
Yeah.
Maybe down
Yep.
the line it will, but now I just need to talk to the guy, and then he can do what I need, and that works that way." So, like,
Yep.
yeah, that trial and error is like um a key phase.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's
Yeah.
what I would do. Hire a CSR any day of the week.
Yeah,
Buy your
good,
time back.
good. Okay, I'm gonna keep that
Yeah,
one in
you're
there.
that's essentially the whole
Mm,
business, the whole thing from start to finish. You're just trying to figure out how to buy your time back
yeah. Yeah,
so you
'cause
can get rid of hats, right? Because in the beginning you're wearing all the hats. You're wearing the
mhm,
CSR, you're wearing
mhm,
the technician, you're wearing the manager hat,
mhm,
and they all take time.
mhm,
And so when you can lose a hat, you buy your time back. So you
yep,
lose that CSR hat, you
mm,
buy some time back.
yeah,
And then you're trying to grow your technicians. So you can lose that technician hat. And then you can step into the general manager position, right? Now you're just
mhm,
general manager and owner.
mhm,
Now you're going to try and lose once you're at a certain amount of technicians and it makes financial sense. then you're going to go try and lose that general manager hat so that
Mhm.
you can step into pure ownership role.
Mhm.
And then you can start working on the things that only the owner can work on, right?
Mhm.
Really refining the business, really getting all the systems and processes, all the financials together, getting everything so it works really, really well at maximum profits.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, you never ditch your owner hat, but like your responsibilities as the owner get less and less should be
Sure.
your goal at that point, right?
Yeah, because your systems
Let's
get better and better.
yeah, let's minimize my involvement in this company so that it's as least amount of time in this company with the maximum dollar amount coming out of it is
Yeah.
kind of what the goal is, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it needs
Yeah.
to be a cohesive unit that can function 99% of the way without you. And
Yeah.
then you as the owner are just making sure, vision is still casted and like
Yeah.
the general manager still knows what's going on. And
Yep.
then yeah, making sure your numbers are clicking so that if you need to
Yep.
make a big decision, whether it's like raising price or whatever, then you can make that decision because you're aware.
Yep. Yeah. And then you can also make the decision like, do I want to keep this business this size or do I
Mhm.
want to take it to the next level and grow that thing even more?
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
So those are all kind of things you're going to be looking at once you're at that point in your life. You might even be
Yeah.
thinking, hey, I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
Like I looked at my business and we've got, between 8 and 10 guys. We do roughly 5 million a year in revenue and I've got a general manager and I spend about 1 hour a week on the business. Sometimes I spend a little more like if I want to do some cool marketing thing, I might spend a little more time in it, but it's relatively small amounts of time. So then I had to, make the decision. Do I want to grow this more? Do I want to expand into a different market? Do I want to go buy other plumbing companies? Do I want to start up, other kinds of companies? Or do I just want to go chill on the beach somewhere?
Mhm.
Um, and ultimately, I was like, I don't want to chill on the beach because that sounds really boring.
You love the beach though. I don't get it. It's your favorite
I love the
place.
beach so much. But I mean, even if it was something I loved, like going hiking in the mountains or mountain biking or traveling around in my van, at the end of the day, I was like, I felt I needed work to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to go, start another plumbing company or move markets or buy one. So I started Plum Social, started doing social media for my company and then went through and started doing it for other companies. And I
Mhm.
was like, man, there's a huge need for this. So let's start a business around it. And it's actually
Mhm.
been really fun to go into another business and learn a whole new aspect of business. Right.
Mhm.
So, like the last year and a half of my life has been just learning all these new things. It's been
Right.
really, really cool. And it's
Right.
cool to see like how those things tie into my plumbing business.
Right.
And actually learning a lot of these things has made my plumbing business better because
Sure.
I
Yeah,
just
sure.
I just understand business better.
Yeah,
It's been
because
pretty fun.
you went into a different you went from a physical business to an online business, but still within the same
Right.
niche, and there's so many lessons that go from the online business to the
Mhm.
physical that you can apply there, and as
Right.
our understanding deepens on any of these things, we just become more well-versed in them, and then we know how to apply them to whatever businesses we have.
Mhm.
And what I noticed in you is like it's with Plum Social, I mean, it's since my goal now was to shed hats and layers of responsibility so that I can
Mhm.
free my time. You can do that very quickly. One, because you have the
Right.
capital to be able to do it, but then also
Yep.
it's part of the deal. Like it's almost
Right.
like I kind of like think of them as like backpacks full of rocks. Like each one of those things is a backpack full of rocks that are weighing you down. So when you're
Yep.
still in the truck, you have like 4 backpacks on. You have all those backpacks and they're all very heavy. But every time you shed one, you can move a little faster. You can do a little bit better. And you get the
Yep.
Plum Social and you don't have the only backpack you have on is Visionary, which is a pretty fun
Right.
backpack to wear. And
Yep.
then you like start doing, and then you're like, hey, Joel, take all these backpacks. And then,
Yep.
and I'm like, cool, thanks, man. I'll gladly carry these because these will make me stronger also. Because then I get to
Yeah.
learn and carry these backpacks for a while. And then I can start to shed them to other people. And then they can sort of
Yep.
become stronger and learn more things. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the coolest part about business this time around is just being able to shed those backpacks right away,
Mm-hmm.
like hiring you up front to just be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then going, okay, now you can do this and I can go do this. And
Mm-hmm.
then once I got too busy doing this, I was like, hey, Joel, guess what? You get to do this too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, And then, we started hiring more and more people, and I was just able to shed those backpacks really, really fast.
Yep.
It boils down to because I have a better idea of like what backpacks to shed now,
Yeah.
and I have the money to be able to shed those backpacks.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're growing your plumbing business, you likely don't have another business that's
Right.
cash flowing you.
Mhm.
So you're going to have to be in the weeds until you can shed those backpacks, right?
Mhm.
And like I think that like life especially, like I think that there's a season for everything.
Mhm.
And like when you come to growing your plumbing business, you're going to have to put in a lot of work, right? There's going to be times where you're going to have to wake up early and work on systems, or work late and work on systems, or spend a Saturday working on systems. And I think there's a season for that. And
Mhm.
it's just that
Yeah.
you're going to put in the work now, the extra work now, so that you can have the freedom later on. And the freedom isn't that later on, right? It's not. It's
No.
not that far
Well,
away.
it doesn't
Like, it's
have to be.
relatively. No, it doesn't. You can make it take a long time, but I
Yeah.
mean, you can really
Mhm.
grow your plumbing business really quick. Like, I grew from 0 to 5 million in just 2.5 years.
Mhm.
And really, I was out of the season of constantly working, after the first year.
Mhm.
So it was like 1 year where I had to spend a couple Saturdays or a couple long days, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
to get to the point to where then I had the freedom to do whatever I wanted.
Yeah, that's actually super helpful because it's so important for us to know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a change
Mhm.
coming because burnout happens when we think we're just doing the same thing and it's not getting us anywhere. But if
Right.
we know that those long days will translate into less long days later, then
Yeah.
that is really hopeful. Because like in our culture and sort of this entrepreneurial space, there's always this almost great debate of like, is it grind culture or is it like hustle culture versus like
Mhm.
the other whatever the other one is? And I would say yes to both. It's hustle culture
Yeah.
until you can optimize your time so where you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But there is a period of hustle culture because you're like, I got to get stuff done. Like I need to like learn a bunch of things and then you graduate out of that and then you're like, oh, now I can pay other people to do all that stuff and now
And
nobody's hustling.
that's really the key there, is learning when you can pay
Mm,
somebody else to do that, or be willing to pay somebody else to do that.
right,
Recognizing, okay, answering my phone is like a $15 an hour task.
right,
So if I'm not answering my phone, I could be out there billing, $400 an hour.
right.
Which one's the better task to do? Like, hire out the $15 an hour task and then go bill out more work.
Hmm.
Like, you could go do one more job a week and probably pay for your CSR, right?
Right. Hmm.
So why not?
Yep.
And that's really what's going to get you out of that season of hustle, right?
Hmm.
Is recognizing and getting rid of your bag of rocks and switching hats, right?
Yep.
That's what's going to get you from the season of hustle to the season of cool. Now I can like just work on this Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
right?
Now I can just do work like I was always told work was 40 hours a
Yeah,
week or whatever.
yeah, like a normal person.
Yeah.
And I think like that that time period where it's tough and you got to put in the work and it's hard and it's scary,
Mm.
that's probably what separates you apart from,
Hmm.
the person who's not going to go there. Like, most people
Hmm.
aren't going to go there because it's hard.
Yep.
And so if you're willing to go there, yeah, it's hard, but it's only for a season,
Yep.
and there's lots of reward at the end.
Yep.
And that's when you find success. And that's why most people won't find it, because they're not willing to do the hard work, right? They're not
Yep.
willing to put in that short period of hustle to get the reward.
Yep. Yeah. Short period of hustle and sacrifice because you're
Yep.
sacrificing your Saturday or whatever it is, knowing
Mhm.
that down the road you'll get many more Saturdays and they'll be better
Yeah,
Saturdays. So you
totally.
sacrifice them now, knowing that you're going to get 10x more later, 100x more later.
Yep. Yeah, I think you gotta be careful though, like, hustle culture is like, you just do that for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
or you do that for a 5-year period,
And I
or
mean, yeah, that's a whole other podcast because there's,
yeah,
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 we could go, there's so many ways you can go into what that means and everybody's got a different opinion.
yep.
Yeah, stay tuned for Hustle Culture with Jared and
Hustle
Joel.
culture, part 2.
Yeah, part 2. Yeah, part 6. Cool, man. Well, hire a CSR. Got it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Okay, well, catch you next time, dude.
Okay, see you, Holmes. Hey guys, if you liked that episode and you want to see more content like that, I picked out a special episode just for you. All you got to do is click right here. Go ahead and do it. Just click right there.